Gauranga Nityananda. Welcome, everyone. Yesterday we had a great time. We were reading some stories about devotees leaving their bodies. And today we don't have stories, today we have philosophy. And I was reading from Giriraj Swami's book, Life's Final Exam. And I found some interesting things which I wanted to discuss from that book. So that's going to be posted. We're going to read from that. A little bit perhaps of a summary of what we've been discussing for the past month, but some insight, and I think it'll be useful. So, we will have a Krishna conscious time today. Welcome. Hare Krishna. So, would you like to do kirtan? See if I can sing. Someone gave this to me. This is something Ayurvedic that you breathe in that smells, I would say it smells interesting. And I'm getting ready to sing, and somehow at this time of the morning my voice goes away. We have our Chinese medicine straight from Taiwan. This might help also. But Krishna doesn't care how you sing, he cares how your heart is. So let me bring the keyboard over. Where is your heart? That's what Krishna cares about. He cares about your heart. Isn't it? Whether you can do something well or not, we can impress people in this world, but we can't really impress Krishna. So just because people here are impressed doesn't mean much. Excuse me. But if Krishna can be pleased somehow or other, then we're okay, right? I'm in a completely strange mode. It's not... Please cooperate. Radha Madhava. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Kupichana Vallabha Girivardhari Suranandana Vajajana Ranjana Shodhanandana Vajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari He Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Shodhanandana Vajajana Ranjana Shodhanandana Vajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janaballabha Giridhari Gopi Janaballabha Girivaradhari Shodanandana Vajajanaranjana Shodanandana Vajajanaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. One moment. It's cold in here. I have slippers. We are experiencing the coldest weather I've experienced in Alachua in May since I moved here like 16 years ago. It's ridiculous. Maybe the air is so pure that it's cooler than normal. I don't know. I can't say. But something has happened. Something strange has happened. We can celebrate. My wife is very happy. It's not humid here. It's normally very humid. Okay. So, Kamaniya. Unfortunately, I didn't put the font in Balaram, and I sent a Word file. But Kamaniya, can you put up the first? Sundari Radha, it's late for you, no? No? Yes? She's up late. Sounds dangerous. Few cold nights now. Seems this is like yeah. Weather's getting cooler. The planet might be happy. Okay. So this is called a portal to opportunities. So what we're reading now, I found in the book by Giriraj Swami, Life's Final Exam. So what it means is, rather Giriraj Swami is writing, or he's quoting Prabhupada, or he's quoting someone. Giriraj Swami said, recently, this is a kind of a sequel to what we had discussed yesterday. You know, that beautiful story we read. Well, this is like a confirmation. Recently, a colleague and friend of mine, Vichitra Viryadas, passed away. And before his death, he said, quote, when you get this close to death, you see that it is not what you thought. All our life we fear it. But when you are this close, you see that it is not the end. It is a portal to opportunities beckoning us, a portal beyond which we are able to see our true existence and nature, that we are all actually entities that don't pass away. It is not something negative or destructive. It is the opposite of that, hugely life-affirming. I'll read that again. It is not something negative or destructive. It is the opposite of that, hugely life-affirming. He's dying, and he's saying death is life-affirming. Interesting, isn't it? Because he's saying now that I'm dying, it's created such detachment that I can realize more so than ever before I'm not the body. So it's life-affirming, it's not life-negating. And he's saying, underlying what he's saying, what I'm reading in here, is that This is not something to fear. This is not something to not look forward to, but this is a very special time in your life when you will be experiencing and having realizations, experiencing things and having realizations you've never had before. That's what he's saying. Isn't that interesting? So everyone, ladies and gentlemen, Prabhus and non-Prabhus. No, we can't say non-Prabhus because Prabhu means master. Masters and mothers, mother masters, father masters, ladies and gentlemen. You have much to look forward to in getting old. Don't worry. Because getting old in Krishna consciousness, you just become wiser, you become more detached, you become more Krishna conscious. So even though your body starts doing funny things, and maybe you don't have the energy you used to have, or you have some pains here and there, oh, you get up, you get old, this is what you do. You get up. And when you get up, you make noises. Oh, oh, oh. So you can look forward to that, sound effects of old age. Have you ever noticed that? So, older devotees, they're sitting down for class, and when they get up, there's like, ooh, ah. And your younger devotees are wondering, what's that? What's that all about? Well, you'll find out. Don't worry. At some point, you'll also be oohing and ahhing, and putting your hand up for someone to pull you up. Yeah, anyway, but that's all good because it detaches you from your body. So he's saying this is not about death. He's saying this is life affirming because I'm realizing more and more I'm not the body. I'm realizing I'm the soul, which of course is the source of life. So I like that statement. So we'll continue reading. Life is for learning lessons, and death is our best instructor to teach us the most important of lessons, because it reveals the essence and purpose of our life and throws light on our eternal spiritual nature. Excuse me, I am totally unprepared. I'm not totally unprepared. I just came in late because I forgot I had to do something this morning, and that took me the 5 minutes I needed to set up, so I have to turn the heater up. Just because the heater makes noise, and the whole recording in the background is going to be going, which, I don't know, maybe you think someone's chanting Om and you like it, but generally it's better not to have buzzing in the background. Okay, so this is, I found this beautiful for a few reasons. The first thing he says is, finally, when you get close to death, in other words, the doctors told you this is about when it's going to end. So, like today we all woke up and probably none of us thought, well, it's going to end today or it could end next week or whatever. I mean, when you're older, you think a little bit more like that. But still, even when you're older, you probably are not thinking today's the day. There is going to be a day, but it's not going to be today. That's just naturally how we would think. So he's saying, he's close to death, he knows. And he's saying this beautiful, it just struck me. It's not what you think it is. Like, don't worry. And that's the same thing that, remember we read that statement from Mother Gauri? And basically she said, you can do this, it's not that difficult. So it's just like this fear, what is it? Nobody's come back, there's no training book, the 7 Steps to Die written by all these people who died and came back and said, or written by all these people who died like 10 times, who had a lot of practice in dying. So, I died 10 times, so I've got it mastered now. So here's the 7 steps to dying. And because we don't have that, there's this fear. What is it? Who knows what it is? It doesn't look good. You're leaving. And he's saying, no, it's not like that at all. It's not what you think it is. What he means by that, it's not this fearful It's not this fearful thing you think it is. It's much different. It is much different. It is. I'm going to add a few words to what he's saying. Because what he's saying is that this experience is actually awakening your self-realization. It's bringing you closer to self-realization. So just from a purely philosophical, objective perspective, anything that can bring you closer to self-realization would make you happier, right? Like we have this paradox. If something is not going well in your life, or something is not going well physically, but that makes you more Krishna conscious, the consequence is that experience will make you happier, right? It's just a fact of life. If a bad experience makes me more Krishna conscious, then the bad experience will actually become, I don't want to say enjoyable, but it will at least be the catalyst for making you happier than you were before the bad experience. So that's basically what he's saying. You think this is a bad experience because I'm leaving my body, but by leaving my body, now I'm understanding, and not just understanding, but I'm realizing that I'm not the body, and that's bringing me immense happiness and joy. That's what he's saying. So I was reading yesterday something very interesting that Prabhupada said, and very simple and very profound. He said, Krishna consciousness means to always hear and chant. All the time you're just talking about Krishna, or you're hearing about Krishna, or you're chanting Hare Krishna. That's what Krishna, or you're talking about Krishna's service. But specifically, Prabhupada said, this is a devotee, one who's, this is what a devotee does. They hear about Krishna, they talk about Krishna. When devotees come together, this is what they talk about, and this is what they chant about. Oh, Prabhu, you want to sing this bhajan? Or I just read this purport, can I read it to you? It's amazing. Or I was just having this realization. Or Prabhu, what is your realization? Can you share it with me? This is the life of the devotee, right? So I've often thought, and we all have the experience, that we're busy, whether it's in service or in maintaining families or both, and we always don't have as much time as we'd like to hear and chant. I was just looking at see all these books behind me? Well, we have like that many inside also. And I like to read and I like to collect books. And I have, I don't know, another 30 or 40 books in Mayapur on my shelf. And sometimes I look at these books, look at the ones I haven't read, and I think I'd really like to read this book. This book would really be beneficial to read for many reasons. And then I think, yesterday I was actually thinking like this, when am I going to read all these books? Who has the time, to read hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books? And those of us who like knowledge, who like information, like to learn, it's frustrating because we want to learn everything, about everything. But when you're in this stage, if you are in this stage where your body breaks down, what are you going to do? You can't do any service. What are you going to do? Pretty much all day, you're going to be hearing and chanting. People will be doing kirtan in your room. Someone's reading Bhagavatam. What a beautiful life just to be able to hear and chant. So we may think, yeah, death, the body's breaking down and I'm just laying there. I can't do anything. But now you get to hear and chant like Parikshit Maharaj, That's like, how happy is that? How are you going to be doing that? It's going to be amazing, don't you think? I don't have any tissues. Oh no, all I have is my hands. That's not so good. My tissue box. My tissue box has let me down. It's empty. And you're saying, Mahatma Prabhu, pay attention to details. Pay attention to details. Maybe somewhere. There's still hope. Don't go away. I might be more detail-oriented than you might have imagined. I am. Just see. I'm not as bad as you thought. Here it is. Tissues. First, We're going to clean the lens. Hare Krishna. So, I mean, you could be in a situation where you're just hearing and chanting. That would be amazing. And you're more detached than ever because you're going to lose your body. And we were saying the other day how one of my disciples who has studied grieving, does counseling for death grieving. She said she's seen many, or someone told her she's seen many people who die very peacefully. And I was thinking, how is that? And the conclusion I came to is, at a certain point, you just detach. You have to detach. And in that ultimate detached state, you're very peaceful. Maybe more peaceful than ever. You know, I have so much to do today, and I'm so stressed out, and I have to, you know, I often joke how we say, yeah, I want to live forever. And I go, well, look at your life. You're so stressed out, and you hate your job. And the city you live in is so polluted, you can't even see the neighbor's house next door to you. And like, you want to live forever like this? I don't understand. So I think what may be going on, just like looking at this from a distance, is that people are getting to this point where they realize, you know, they're leaving this stuff behind, and it's not like such great stuff to leave behind. It's not like I'm leaving the Delhi smog behind, and I'm leaving this city with like 30 million people behind. That, you know, it takes you, you know, 3 hours to go 3 miles during rush hour, like, and they're just like detaching from that, and they can't control anything. They don't need to control anything, and that's a very peaceful state. Like, finally, I'm in this state. My body can't do anything. I can't control. I don't want to control. I don't need to control. There's nothing to control. My life's been turned over. Other people are doing what I used to do. That I could never get anybody to do these things. Now they're doing it because I can't do it. And so what are you doing? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You're just hearing and chanting, completely detached. You're going to lose your body. You're like more aware than ever you're not the body. That's what he's saying. He said, don't think it's going to be like really bad. It's an event that takes, you know, it's like, I remember, you all remember when you hit puberty? It was like, what's going on here? Isn't it? It was like a physiological change. I remember when I was a kid, I woke up. Not a kid, maybe it was like 16. I woke up one day and I was like, what's that on my face? You know, there's like hair growing on my face. I'm like, what's that about? That's puberty. So you're going through a change. It's a natural change. So death is just one of those changes you go through. It's part of what we have to go through. But to look at it in a negative way, no. It could be the best time of our life. You know, now finally I'm detached. I have nothing to be attached to. My body can't even enjoy. You know, a lot of times Prabhupada would say that he can't eat, or when you get old you can't eat, and you can't digest. And I was thinking the other day, could you imagine you can't digest anything? Like, everything you want to eat that's delicious, you look at it and go, that's my favorite. But I can't eat it, because if I eat it, it just goes in me and it goes out of me. Like, what a difficult situation to be in. But that may happen. And so you're not eating, gradually you're detaching from eating. So it was just, okay, it's over. Enjoyment. It's like, it's a reality. I can't eat all these things. It's finished. So there's all this control that's being taken away from us. And we think, oh, that would be bad. But actually, it makes us peaceful. We don't have to try to control anything anymore. And that's what causes us so much anxiety, isn't it? Trying to control. Isn't it? Like, you know, if you just today, don't try to control anything except your mind and senses, but don't try to control anything external. Of course, when you're driving a car, I wouldn't advise doing that. Yeah. Okay, we have to rephrase that statement. If my Guru Maharaj told me not to control anything external. So I went in the car and I just let the car drive by itself. He said, don't try to control it. That's a Bhakta Burfi moment, right? Isn't it? Note that down for the Bhakta Burfi movie. Guru Maharaj said, don't try to control anything. Krishna's the controller. So we just put the car in drive and Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare, crash into a light post. Yeah, that's a Bhakta Burfi. So you understand what I mean, right? So that's what he's saying. It's not something negative or destructive. It is the opposite of that. Hugely life affirming. Life is for learning lessons, and death is our best instructor to teach us the most important of lessons, because it reveals the essence and purpose of our life and throws light on our eternal spiritual nature. Hugely life affirming. Life is for learning lessons. So here he says something amazing. He says, death is our best instructor. And I think this has come out in these classes, this idea that there's things in life that only death can teach us. It's just a reality. And Krishna, he's made this perfect arrangement for us, Kali Yuga. We don't live that long. You're a demigod, you live so long, you can't even, your iPhone can't calculate how long it is. So it's like, well, we don't really die because the number's so big we can't even conceive of dying. That's what it's like to be a demigod. That's kind of hard, Prabhu, get serious. Life is short. Yeah, but, I know it ends, but I just can't figure out, like, that time frame is like, it's so long. It's like they say on higher planets, it's like so long, it's like eternal. It's almost eternal because it's so long. And so, we look at old age and death and think, this is a bad bargain. Okay, well, what are the options? The option is stay young for like millions of years, no gray hair, no wrinkles, enjoy sex all your life, and then have one child at the end. And then one fine day, boop, you just die. It's like, imagine how attached you'd be. And everything's beautiful, everything's enjoyable, much more, like Prabhupada said, 1,000 times more than here. Can you imagine? It's so painful did you know that? It's so painful for the demigods to die. That they just cry and they come down in their tears. Yeah. So for us, Krishna is like, okay, you Kali Yuga-ites, you're pretty useless, but I have a plan for you. Kali Yuga's bad, you're bad, everything's bad, but I'm going to give you the holy name and the process. And you only have to do this for like 70 years, 60, 70, 80, and then you can perfect it. And when you get older, everything is going to come to light, and you're going to be in this situation where death is going to give you so many realizations. And we're going to read about that. We're going to come in here. Let's skip the next one, because instead of why should I bow down, go down today. If you could post today could be your last day, and let's read that, because that follows exactly what I'm saying. So lime water, unsweetened lime water. Must be good for something, right? So we are going. Bhakta Burfi, yeah. Well, each of you are supposed to take a class and Bhakta Burfiize it. And someone was going to arrange that. You all listen to one class and get the Bhakta Burfi moments out of that. That was a Bhakta Burfi moment. Don't try to control anything. Guru Maharaj said, don't try to control anything. So he's got some dangerous machine. He goes, turns it on, and bulldozer, let it go. Krishna's in control. Destroys a house. Dr. Murphy, Guru Maharaj said, don't try to control anything. I just turned it on and I thought it would just make the road by itself. Because I'm not the controller. Krishna's the controller. I was chanting Hare Krishna the whole time. It smashed the house down. I don't understand. Yeah. So today could be your last day, and this is by Bhakta Steve. Steve Jobs, this is from Guru Swami's book, he quotes this. Steve Jobs, the visionary American entrepreneur, said, when I was 17, I read a quote that went something like, if you live each day as if it was your last, someday you'll most certainly be right. Yeah, that's a good one. If you live each day like it's your last, someday, certainly, you'll be right. It made an impression on me, and since then, for the past 33 years, I have looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, quote, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what am I about to do today? Good question. Especially if what you're about to do is enjoy sense gratification. That's a really good question, because the answer would obviously be, no, I don't think so. If today were the last day of my life, and Prabhupada said this also. You may know that. I think it was Satsvarup Maharaj. Either he told the story or he asked Prabhupada, how can we become serious? And Prabhupada said, well, just live every day like it's your last. Then you'll be pretty serious, right? Yes? I have to stay out of the way here. If today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. I really like that one. You ask yourself, of course, you're saying, well, if I knew today was my last day, I would make other plans. Like to buy a lot of ice cream, because I love ice cream, and I could eat a lot of ice cream on my last day. If a non-devotee is told today's your last day, what do you think they would do? Most of them, they would think of everything they like to do, and they would do it as much as they eat a gallon of ice cream, eat a whole jar of cookies, go see all the favorite movies, your favorite movies you want to see, buy all the things you know. Do you agree? A lot of people would do that, wouldn't they? There was a girl who, it was a fund for her because she had a terminal disease and she was very young, and they raised a fund so she could go to Disneyland. I always wanted to see Disneyland. Yes, I think that's what people would do, wouldn't they? What do you think? Today's your last day. What are you going to do? Oh, okay, let's go shopping, buy my favorite ice cream, favorite cookies. I just want to eat everything. I'm going to die today. I want to eat all the things I love that are bad for me that my doctor said I can't eat. It doesn't matter now because I'm going to die. And what about all the other things that are bad for me? Well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to die. Let's do it today. Right? That's how a lot of people would think. Unfortunately, when you don't have a spiritual master, it's like your brain doesn't work. It's Kali Yuga. People's brains, they work wrong. And you need a spiritual master so your brain works, so you know how to think properly. Otherwise you just think everything just like mode of ignorance. It's all backwards. It's just like you think exactly the way you shouldn't think. Oh, today's my last day. Let me enjoy sense gratification to the maximum extent. Because everybody's like, they think opposites, isn't it? Okay, so, but I like this statement. He's reflecting, okay, if today were my last day, would I be doing what I'm doing? And you'll say, well, come on, if I knew it was my last day, then I wouldn't have to go shopping, I wouldn't have to go see the doctor, I wouldn't have to clean this, do that, I would just prepare. So it's not a fair question, but it is to some degree, because really the question is, maybe not if today's my last day would I do this, but these are my last days for all of us, because you have a limited number of days. Is this how I want to live my last days of my life? We're all in our last days of our lives. Some of you are younger, some of you are older, so the days are numbered differently, but we're all in our last days. Is this how more or less you want to live your last days? So the thing that I like that he said is, if the answer is no for too many days, then I know something's wrong. You say, okay, if I lived, the quality of rounds I chanted today, the quality of hearing and chanting, the quality of the exchanges, the realizations I was having, if this continues for the rest of my life, is that good? Or is it, no, it's not good. It's not enough. I need to do more. That's the kind of question. I always ask with japa, okay, how was your japa today? And if your japa was like that every day for the rest of your life, is that good? How was your hearing today? How did you read enough? Or did you get realization? If that's the way it's going to be for the rest of your life, is that good? How are your relationships with other devotees? How was your service? If this is the amount of service you do every day for the rest of your life, is that good? Is it going to help? Is it going to make a difference? Is it going to help you? So I think those questions are good. And that's how you take advantage of death long before you know you're going to die, because you know there's an end. And so then you ask the question, okay, there is an end when I can't do this anymore. Am I going to meet the finish line in good consciousness? Well, then I ask the question, well, if I live the way I'm living today, every day, is that good? If I chant the way I chanted today, every day, is that good? Is that desirable? Is that going to get me to the finish line in good shape? It's like we can ask the question, what did you eat today? And what was your exercise regime? Did you get exercise? Did you breathe? Everybody breathe. There's a book called Japa for Pranayam for Japa, or Japa Pranayam. Did you know that? There was a book. I've never seen it, but a devotee told me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, like that. Are you breathing? Are you exercising? Are you eating well? And so then I ask you the question, if you took your health regime today and you multiply that by the number of number of days you have left to live, are you going to be healthy? Are you going to be sick? Are you going to be fat? What are you going to be? So that's just how common sense, how we have to think. We have to multiply what we're doing now by the number of days we have left and ask ourselves, am I going to get to the finish line in good shape if this is what I do? And if the answer is no, then you know what to do. Do something that's going to make your answer yes. So then the next question is, what do I have to do to make it a yes? Okay, if I live this way at the end of my life, will I be Krishna conscious? No, I don't think so. Okay, what do you have to change to make it I think so? A lot of you are saying, I hope so. Do you have any money in the bank? I hope so. No, I hope so is not a good answer. You have enough money to pay the rent? I hope so. Do you have this disease? I don't know. I hope not. Did you go to the doctor? No, but I hope not. No, that doesn't work. You don't want to get to the end of your life and realize, you know what? I didn't make it to the finish line in good shape. You want to ask now, how do I do that? And then, so this just makes sense. You want to be Krishna conscious, you want to go back to Godhead, then you have to look at your life today and say, is what I'm doing going to get me there? And if it's not, then what do I have to change? Pretty simple, right? You agree? So read on. Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Of course, he's not a devotee, so I'm not exactly sure what those big choices are. I think those big choices he's referring to are more spending more time with the family and so forth. But we can take it within the context of Krishna consciousness. For us, obviously, the big choices are Krishna over Maya. Because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. And you could imagine, a lot of times, let me go back to the imagine statement. Let's cancel that, delete that. A lot of times people come to me with problems and say, this devotee said that, and they're always doing this, and, this is not right, and etc. They're very, very upset. And often, when I don't think the problem is that big, and I don't think the problem is worth getting upset about. Some problems are big, obviously, and some problems all of us would naturally be upset about, and we have to do something. But some are not that big, but some of us get very upset about little things. At least what I think is little or not that important. And I think in my mind, okay, when you're lying on your deathbed, are you even going to remember this? Is this even going to be that important? It's like two little kids, right? So dinner is served, and while they're eating, one kid pulls something off the other kid's plate because the sister got two, the brother got one, so the brother says it's not fair, so he pulls it. And the sister starts crying or screaming or beating him up or whatever. A few days later, a week or two, they're not even going to remember that. It's not even going to matter, or they're going to talk about it, and they'll just laugh about it. So when we look at life in terms of what's important, it's nice to think, okay, I'm lying on my deathbed, and there's all these things that really upset me, or things that I thought were important, but now when I look back, it wasn't really important. It didn't really matter. I thought it mattered a lot. Another thought, which I'm sure you've had, it's such an interesting thought. Krishna says in the Gita, as you know, whatever you do is permanent, no diminution. It's never lost. Second chapter, right? In this endeavor, there's no loss or diminution. A little advancement can save one from the greatest danger, greatest fear. Right? So, anything you do in Krishna consciousness, that's permanent. It's in your bank account. It's there. You've got it. Permanent benefit, right? Now let's look at sense gratification. What do you get from sense gratification? In terms of pleasure, maybe you get a lot. But next week, can you enjoy that delicious kofta in tomato sauce with cream, surrounded by peas and spiced perfectly? A few hours after you eat it, it's like, that's it. It's the pleasure is gone. There's no, it's like, and if that eating that makes you sick, then you think, why did I eat that? That was stupid. But even if it doesn't make you sick, that's it. All the pleasure you've had. Can you think of all the pleasure you had when you were 16, all the crazy things you did when you were 16? Can you enjoy any of that? Not only can we not enjoy it, a lot of it causes guilt and shame. We suffer from it, the so-called enjoyment, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't that interesting? We do so many things and we become devotees and we realize, wow, what I did was really bad, and we suffer from it. So we think, sense gratification is so important. I have to have this. I'm so hungry, or I need this. This is really important. And when you die, it's like, there's no pleasure from that you've got. You're not experiencing it. And you might say, well, on the subtle level, I'm fulfilled. Okay, granted, on the subtle level, but on the grosser level, there's no experience of it. It's over. An hour later, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours the next day, it's like, or a vacation. Wow, a couple of weeks, you're really feeling good and happy, and as we say in America, buzzing from that vacation. But after that, you start lamenting, I want to go back there again, or I hate my job. I didn't realize how bad my job is till I went on this vacation. Now in comparison, I realize how much I hate my job. So sometimes it backfires. But my point is, there's a lot of little things that become big things in our life that if you put it in the context of death and imagine, on my deathbed, am I going to be worried about this? And the answer is going to be no. No way. As one devotee said, always think of Corona and never forget Corona, because she was observing that's what's going on. You're going to be, you're on your deathbed. Prabhu, Prabhu, get out the newspaper. What do you want me to read? Read about Corona. I want to know where it's going. You're like, why would you care? Right? So we have to ask ourselves, if on my deathbed I wouldn't care about something, is it that important now? Obviously, now I'm alive, I have to care about certain things. But there's other things I don't have to care about. They're not important. They don't edify anything. Right? Now there's all these conspiracy theories about Corona. Where did it come from? Was it created in a laboratory? Was it created out of scientific research? Was it created as a biological weapon? Did they transgress the standards of research and negligently allow it? Or maybe it was a trick that they allowed it, but it just looks like it was negligence. Was it America's fault? Maybe there's an unknown suspect we don't know. And if you're on your deathbed, do you think you care about that stuff? It's 5G. 5G is the cause of COVID-19. Wherever there's 5G, there's COVID-19. 5G is destroying our immune system. There could be some truth to that, but whether these theories are true or not, you think you'd really care when you're dying? I don't think so. Okay, should we read some more? I think we should. I think we covered that point well. Did I read the whole thing? Yeah. Okay, so that was Bhakta Steve. May he rest in peace. Maybe he's a devotee now. He took so much prasadam. Okay, here's a funny exchange. It's called Why Should I Bow Down? Kamaniya, can you post that again? No, let me go back. Maybe there's a question or comment that I mixed. Oh, Kamaniya. Well, let me go up and I'll come back down. Today could be your last day. Today, Prabhupada said that. I heard Prabhupada say it. Parikshit Maharaj had 7 days. You do not know you have 7 moments. I think this is the first comment. First comment is coming from Italy, from Marco. Marco from Italia. Buongiorno, Marco. Where's the pasta? You know, in Italy, they eat pizza like chapatis, isn't it? I stayed in Italy a while. Not long, but. Where are the chapatis? No, Prabhu, no chapati. Pizza. Every night, pizza. Why chapati? Why eat chapatis when you could eat pizza? Yeah, that makes sense. Prabhupada went to Italy and he said, the Italians know how to feast. Yeah. And I heard the Italians would all be dead if it wasn't for olive oil, because they eat so much cheese and pasta, and if it wasn't for olives and olive oil, which kind of cleans them out, they'd die when they're 16 or something. Okay, Marco says, death is not the end of life, and it can be an ecstatic experience if we are in Krishna consciousness. Totally. The final moment. Well, it can be now, when we are alive in the very moment too, yeah. I think, old age it's so interesting, because old age it's so much easier to detach. Krishna makes it so much easier. And, when your body's breaking down, why would you want to keep it? Like we were discussing the story of Jayananda, his body was breaking down. He couldn't, his Jayananda lived to serve Prabhupada like 18 hours a day. It was like nonstop. And then his body's breaking down, and he's just laying there and he's thinking, this is such a waste. Why even maintain this body? It's just a waste. So Krishna does that, will do that for us. Why waste time maintaining the body? It's falling apart. So it's very easy to become detached with a body that's falling apart. It's useless. And then, as it's falling apart, you start to realize this is just a costume. It's just a vehicle I'm wearing. It's going to be so much easier to detach. That is the value of having a short life in Kali Yuga in a body that breaks down quite quickly. You know, this is like another Bhakti Burfi moment. All the devotees are taking vitamins and healthy and, live long. It's like, why do you want to live long? Why do you want to be healthy? Let the body just like fall apart. Then go back to Godhead sooner, like you become detached. You'll suffer so much, you'll become detached. It's like I told you, I don't know if you remember this, but long ago during our immature days, one sannyasi GBC, he used to find a man and a woman who were completely incompatible, and he said, you two should marry. It was like a Bhakti Burfi on steroid moment. He'd say, it's like, Maharaj, why do you want to marry them? He said, because the combination is so bad that they will suffer so much that they will become completely detached. That is Bhakti Burfi on steroids. Philosophically it makes sense, right? You suffer, you'll become detached. But, it's not Vedic astrology to find a boy, like a Brahmin boy and a Shudra. No, a Brahmin girl and a Shudra boy. That's like the worst combination possible. The boy should always be higher. The boy can marry a Vaishya, Kshatriya, Shudra girl, but the girl cannot marry lower. So fine, and then compatibility, family, everything, he's got 6 PhDs, she can't read or write. He's 6'8", she's, 4 feet 3, just every incompatibility, put them together. That's Bhakti Burfi. But still, philosophically at the same time, there is truth to that. Suffering does detach us. And, nobody likes suffering, and Krishna's, at his MacBook going, okay, like, I'm looking at your profile here, and I could see that for you to be Krishna conscious, we have to give you like 36 suffering points in your life. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So, he writes in the program, okay, in 2022, this is going to happen. 2024, we'll have these 3 things happen. So Krishna's designing it perfectly that you just get enough suffering that'll just like push you over the edge into Krishna consciousness. So if you don't like suffering, all I can say is detach on your own, do austerity on your own, then Krishna won't have to put any in your life because you're resisting it. You'll just detach naturally. But if you can't do that, Krishna knows, okay, he needs a certain amount of suffering, so he's attached to this or that. So let's we'll give him, 36 suffering points in the rest of his life, and that should do it. He'll be good. And he'll, at the end of his life, he'll be like, get me out of here. I hate this place. That's what Krishna's doing. Prabhu, the doctor said, you only have 7 days to live. Thank Krishna, I get out of here. I can't take it anymore. I'm suffering so much. There's a devotee in Mayapur. Well, he's not in Mayapur. He lives part-time in Mayapur. Every class he gives that I've ever heard, he always talks about how bad the material world is. He must really be suffering. I don't know what it is. But he must really need that to be Krishna conscious because he's completely detached. Yeah, this world is so bad. I don't care about anything. I don't want anything. Just chant and preach. That's all I want to do. Prabhupada ki jai. So sometimes it's like that. Krishna's like, okay, you're never going to, you're so attached. I have to do something, give you some like horrible headache, for an hour. So you realize, no, the body's not that nice. Or, do something, you get sick and everything you eat you can't taste and you're just frustrated. And look at this body, it's causing me pain. Yeah, exactly, it's causing you pain. You just didn't realize it. So Krishna, he's there designing your life and going, okay, you want to be a devotee? So, okay, we'll make this happen, we'll make that happen. And then, when you come to death, you're going to be, as we say, you're going to be so ready to give up this body. You're just going, I've had it. Get me out of here. Body's falling apart. I'd rather, sometimes you have some pain and you need an operation, but there's a chance you may not survive. And And people say, well, I don't want to live like this, so let's do the operation. If I die, it's better. I won't suffer anymore. So something like that. One of the greatest impetuses, is that the word? The greatest impetus amongst great impetus, yeah, it must be impetuses. Impetus with an apostrophe at the end over the S is death. Knowing that it's going to end, knowing that, all you young, beautiful devotees, just wait. You will not be young anymore and maybe not so beautiful. And if you live long enough, the body it can't maintain its beauty that long. It's got to break down at some point. So everybody, want to live a long time. Yeah, you know what you're going to look like if you live to be 108. Not so beautiful. So, it's a bad deal. Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to read what Prabhupada said about bowing down. This is interesting. This is from Life's Final Exam by Giriraj Swami. In an exchange with a young man in Seattle in 1968, Prabhupada made that point that either, he's referring to this point, and that point refers to the point he just made, but he's going to explain it again. He made that point that either you surrender to Krishna, bow down to Krishna, or you surrender to Maya, bow down to Maya. So, ladies and gentlemen, who do you want to bow down to? Because you have to bow down. In this corner, you can bow down to Maya. This corner, you can bow down to Krishna. But don't think you don't have to bow down. But this boy Prabhupada was talking to thought he didn't have to bow down. The young man, so Prabhupada made the point, either you bow to Krishna or you bow to Maya, but you have to bow down. And a young man objected. He said, quote, I don't feel that I have to bow down to anybody. And Prabhupada replied, this is classic. That is your disease. We are forced to bow down, and we think, I don't like to bow down. You have diagnosed your own disease, the disease of materialism. What a comeback. The boy says, I don't have to bow down. And Prabhupada said, you have diagnosed your disease. You think you don't have to bow down. What an answer, isn't it? I love that. You have diagnosed your own disease, the disease of materialism. Everyone is thinking, I want to be master. I don't wish to bow down. Why shall I bow down? Why shall I become subordinate? Prabhupada just exposed him, yes? This is not your high philosophy or realization. This is your disease. Prabhupada goes on, but nature is forcing me to become subordinate. Now, who wants to meet death? Why people are dying? Can you answer this? The young man responded, I thought it was biological. And Prabhupada replied, that means biological force. You are subordinate to biology. You are subordinate. You must bow down. When death is there, you cannot say, oh, I don't obey you. Therefore, you are subordinate. You cannot declare, I am free. I am not subordinate. The young man asked, what do you want me to do? And Prabhupada replied, first of all, try to understand your disease. Then we shall prescribe your medicine. Hare Krishna. You are bowing down to everyone. You are bowing down to death. You are bowing down to disease. You are bowing down to old age. And you're also bowing down to taxes and so many. You're bowing down to your professors, your boss. You're bowing down to traffic lights. You're bowing down to traffic. You're bowing down to the inflation. You're bowing down to Corona. Well, yeah, it's like... you are bowing down to so many things. You are forced. Therefore, the next process is that I'm being forced to bow down. Now we have to find out where I shall be happy even by bowing down. That is Krishna. Your bowing down will not be stopped because you are meant for that. But if you bow down to Krishna and Krishna's representative, you become happy. So Prabhupada saying you're going to have to bow down no matter what. So just find out the place to bow down that'll make you happy. Otherwise, you're going to bow down and not be happy. Bow down, Mr. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. Bow down, Mr. We chant Radhe Shyam. Yeah. Prabhupada goes on. Oh, I think this is Giri Rasham. He says, why don't we bow down? Because we are proud, envious and proud. Now this must be Prabhupada speaking. Why should I bow down to anyone, we think? People should bow down to me. Why should I chant Krishna's name? People should chant my glories. If there's a room full of people talking, you may tune out and not even hear what people are saying. But if someone happens to utter your name, immediately your ears perk up. Oh, that person is talking about me. Hare Krishna. Okay. As people often say, I don't bow down to anybody. Yeah, they must be blind. I don't bow to anybody. You bow down to the tax man. You're bowing down to the doctor who tells you what to do. If you're married, you bow down to your children, your husband, your wife. Everyone's bowing down. Bowing down is not bad. It's just when you're forced to do it and you don't realize it, then it's bad. We are happy we can bow down to Krishna. It's one of the... You know that story I've told? A lot of you haven't heard this story. This is such a beautiful story. It's raining in Mayapur, and this is during the time of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, so I don't even know if there are any paved roads. Everything is muddy. At least in this story, this devotee was standing in the Mayapur rain on the earth, not on cement. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was coming up the road. And when he saw the car coming, he paid obeisances, probably dandavats. So he's like totally muddy now. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta sees this, and he stops the car, and he calls him over and said, why did you do that? It's so muddy. He said, Guru Maharaj, these obeisances are my only wealth. So he's saying, there's no question of not bowing down to you. This is my only wealth. Paying obeisances to you. This is my pride and joy. So devotees are happy bowing down, and non-devotees have to bow down. And you ever go to a store and you want to buy something and you find out it's like 3 times what you thought it was? You have to bow down to the price. Right? Can I get it for cheaper? No, that's the price. Sorry. So we're bowing down. This is the intelligence of a devotee. He's bowing down. Voluntarily to Krishna. Okay. So why should I bow down? And then the next quote. This is a beautiful quote from the Varaha Purana. And again, a lot of these quotes are just underscoring what we've already discussed, but I just think it's so good to hear them again and hear from different shastras, because a lot of what we discussed were things Prabhupada said, or we could say common sense, but not everything was supported by Shastra quote. So here's a Shastra quote to support a lot of what we've been talking about. This is called Krishna's promise of protection. This is from the Varaha Purana. And so... before I was reading comments, I got sidetracked. The Make-A-Wish Foundation in the U.S. fulfills such wishes of terminally ill kids. Yeah, so they get to go to Disney. Oh, that's so sad. Terminally ill kid, you should go to Vrindavan, and that's, isn't that sad? Boston pizza. Okay. We got on the pizza kata here. Incompatibility is such a good example of detachment. What was it? I forgot what I said. Incompatibility of what? Remind me what I said. You expect me to remember what I said 5 minutes ago? That's impossible. Uranista. What did I say? Yesterday, Krishna Karshani says, yesterday someone sent me a public letter written by one of Prabhupada's disciples. She wrote that we all have to run away from the cities because soon we will have war. She said we have only a few months. Whoa. I'm already out of the city, so I'm good. You want to all come move in with me? we have to respect them. How to navigate such negative Prabhupada disciple? We have to respect them, and we doubt how to deal with them. We don't agree with her. Well, you have your gurus, so you follow your gurus. I mean, your gurus you can forward the message to your gurus and ask them what they think. But we have these examples, several examples when there was talk about war and such, and they would ask Prabhupada, well, what do we do? And Prabhupada would say, chant Hare Krishna. What else do we do? Chant Hare Krishna. How do we prepare? What do we do? Chant Hare Krishna. So, and then Prabhupada would say something like just shocking, but so common sense. You're worried you're going to die? You didn't think you were going to die? And only because there's talk of an imminent war, and now you're worried about dying? Every page of every one of my books said you're going to die. But why only by nuclear war? Or war, not nuclear. That was Prabhupada's answer, basically saying, what's wrong with you? Why do you think now you're going to die, but yesterday you weren't, because now you read in the paper there's going to be a war? And then Prabhupada would say, you may not die by war, you may die by some other cause. So, Prabhupada is if you rephrased Prabhupada's statements in a more colloquial, modern kind of American sarcasm, you would say, before you would answer the question, you would say, what's wrong with you? Why did you ask such a stupid question? So Prabhupada, of course, doesn't do that. But the inherent in the answer is kind of like, why did you ask such a stupid question? Without saying it. Prabhupada, there's going to be war. What do we do? Oh, you thought you were not going to die? You forgot that? Yeah. So Prabhupada's coming from a different platform. And so... But I heard many times devotees say, and I don't know where Prabhupada said it, Prabhupada said, don't make plans on war. In other words, don't live your life around the fact around the idea there's going to be war. I think what Prabhupada meant, rumors of war. Obviously, if there is going to be war, you have to do something intelligent. But of course, we're limited in what we can do. But, don't plan your whole life around it Now, what's happening is there's so many theories about where COVID-19 came from and what the future is going to be and whatever. And Prabhupada that was not his mood. Prabhupada's mood is, things are not good, and this is just another variety of not good. And so these things are going to go on. There's a letter, and Prabhupada said, let people do it. Let the leaders do what they do. Things are going to go the way they go. You be Krishna conscious. And another message that Prabhupada gave is, so you think you're not going to die, but you are. So you die today or in 20 years. What's the real difference? That was Prabhupada's vision. It's like it doesn't make any difference. It happens now or later, So... And then if you think about it, if you're going back to Krishna, it does make a difference. If I die now, I can go back to Krishna earlier. But of course, we want to live for service. So we don't think, I want to just leave my body, go back to Godhead. No, I want to live for service. But there's the other side is if I can't live for service, or if Krishna doesn't want me to live for service, then why do I have to stay here in this world? There's only one reason to stay here. Well, actually, there's two. One is to preach, to teach, to serve, to help other people become Krishna conscious. And the other reason is, if you're not Krishna conscious, is to enjoy. But if your reason is to serve, and Krishna wants you to serve somewhere else, so it's time, Krishna says, time to grab you, your soul, pull you out of this body, we have service elsewhere. There's no lamentation, because there's no need for this body other than for service. And if we're attached to this body for sense gratification, that's why we can't give it up. Because, oh, am I going to enjoy? I'm losing my body. What about my chocolate cookies and my favorite Beatles album? I got the LP and I just got a new system. And, what about all that? I can't hear it. Yeah, so the whole problem of sense gratification is it attaches you to the body and the world. You can't give it up. But if you're a devotee and you're fully engaged in service of Krishna, then if Krishna wants you to serve somewhere else, what's the problem? Right? You understand? So the only problem is I want to enjoy the body. So I don't want to give up the body because it's enjoyable. And if you're enjoying Krishna consciousness on the spiritual level, you're not enjoying the body. You're enjoying your relationship with Krishna. So whatever body you have for that relationship with Krishna doesn't matter. And if you can get a spiritual body, all the better. Right? So ultimately, that's the science of material attachment in 60 seconds or less. Sense gratification. Why are we attached? Sense gratification. How do we become detached? Give up sense gratification. Minimize it. Control it. Become attached to Krishna service. Then I live for Krishna service. Yesterday I was so busy. And every day I'm so busy. But I wanted to get certain things done that I couldn't get done. So just after class, I just sat here till about 12 o'clock. And then at 12 o'clock, I went, ding, ding, ding. Oh, I haven't had breakfast yet. I probably should eat, shouldn't I? Because I don't want my body to wither away, because if it withers away, then you won't see me when I give class, or I won't even be able to give class. So I thought, okay, I should eat. But eating's a hassle. It takes time. So I went in the kitchen and go, okay, there's some yogurt and there's some fruit. Okay. Ate that, 10 minutes, gone, finished. And then working. And then about 6 o'clock, ding, ding, ding. I haven't eaten since noon, and I just had a little bit. It was like a snack. And I was quite hungry, actually. But I was thinking, it just gets in the way of service. You have to eat. And so my friend Hovey came over, and he wanted to talk. I said, well, I guess I should eat now. Let's go up. And I'm preparing this meal, and I'm thinking, having a body, it's such a botheration because it wants to eat. Every 6 hours, the body says, feed me. And after so many 6 hours segments, you look in the refrigerator and there's nothing there. And then the mind says, go shopping so you can feed me. And then you eat too much and the body says, put me down, I'm tired. Then you have to put it down. And then the body sees the opposite sex and the body starts going boom, 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 boom. You need to enjoy the opposite sex. It's such a problem to have a body, right? So if you can neglect that a little bit, you can neglect the body and it's not that important, sense gratification is not that important, then, it's detachment, it's natural, dying, living, who cares? I don't use this body for sense gratification. What does it matter? I just use it for Krishna service. If Krishna wants me to serve in another way, no problem. But when we're attached to sense gratification, then it's going to be hard to give up the body. You agree? Yeah, it's a fact. So there it is, the science of detachment. Go in your cookie cabinet, throw away all your cookies right now, and you'll become Krishna conscious, just like that. Throw that ice cream out. Or find a kid, give him your ice cream. You'll be Krishna conscious like that. Throw out your bed, sleep on the floor, put a few nails on the floor, just, for austerity's sake. Yeah, you'll be Krishna conscious like that. So what do you see? You see sannyasis, they live austere lives. Why? Well, what does austerity mean? It means zero sense gratification. When you do austerity, there's no sense gratification. But you see, when people do austerity, sometimes they become so blissful and you're looking at them. How can you be blissful? You sleep 5 hours a night on the floor and then you take a cold shower. If I did that, I would hang myself. and they're just like beaming, right? Because that's what happens when you take austerity. Do austerity, you become Krishna conscious, and you become happy. And sense gratification is like, wow. You want to hear something? It's really interesting. We used to, when we were doing Sankirtan, we used to do book distribution at fairs. These fairs, they have big amusement parks and play all these games, and like every 50 feet there's like a booth with food, or sometimes not. Sometimes they're right next to one another. So basically, what you do in there is you play games and you eat. You go on merry-go-rounds and you pay money and throw balls and try to win a prize, and you come out 6 hours later with a stuffed doll, and you're like $100. You've got $100 less in your pocket than you walked in with. But we would always notice when people came out, when people were going in, they were very bright and energetic and excited because they're expecting to have a good time. I'm going to go on the Ferris wheel, and I'm going to play this game, and I'm going to eat this food and blah, blah, blah. And they come out, they just looked like they were run over by a truck. Tired, burned out, And for all the tired and burned out, they have like a balloon and a little stuffed doll, for their $100 and mustard all over their face, and So we were just young devotees, but we had always noticed that. Did you notice that like people are so bright and cheery when they come in, and when they come out, everybody's like exhausted. They look like they're ready, they look like their next stop is the graveyard, Like, what happened? Did they prepare you for the cemetery? That's what it looked like. It's like, it wasn't the county fair, it was the cemetery preparation. It was crazy. So that's what sense gratification does to you. It prepares you for the graveyard. And then you do all this austerity, like no sense gratification, and you feel so blissful. So that's it, right there. That's detachment, what it does in a nutshell. Question for Marina. Marina is the incarnation of questions. If there's a question to be asked, Marina has it. What does it mean, voluntary austerity? Is it possible to go to the spiritual world without suffering? Voluntary austerity, doing anything which diminishes sense gratification, diminishing sense gratification. So to save time and consciousness for serving Krishna. If you do too much austerity and you're not ready for it, it's going to have a backlash. But austerity is defined as some inconvenience, physical inconvenience for the sake of spiritual advancement, like getting up early is an austerity. Big austerity, I've said, is chanting your rounds and actually listening to your rounds while you chant. That's an austerity instead of just... You saw that video we put on Facebook of the girl on her phone, fighting her phone while she's chanting japa and trying to put her phone down, but she can't. So for some of you, your austerity is to have your phone off, for more than 10 minutes a day, right? I always tell everyone, have your phone off as much as possible. But for some, that's like too austere. Just keep it off. Your life is insane. You get your phone on all day. You're walking around with it. Every notification, you're jumping on it. You have no life. So, austerities will be different for different people. Giving up a certain food that you tend to overeat, whatever. Reading when you don't want to. Doing service that's difficult, like that. And can we go to the spiritual world without suffering? Yes, but most people need to suffer. It's just, it's just the way it is. Because, okay, here's the question, ladies and gentlemen. If there was no suffering in your life, would you be listening to this lecture right now? Would you be wearing tilak and neck beads? Would you be wearing dhoti, kurta, shadi? I've asked this question many times in many countries, and the answer is unanimous. A unanimous, no, I wouldn't. If I could actually enjoy, if I never suffered, I would never have a reason to become a devotee. Never, ever. I'd have no reason. Why would I become a devotee? I became a devotee to relieve suffering. Now, some of you who are very philosophical might say, no, but I came to understand the absolute truth. Okay. But still, from my observation, even if you understand something, a healthy dose of suffering helps you understand it, doesn't it? Yeah, that's all Maya, that's all bad. Yeah, and then, the next day you're doing it. But when I say that's all Maya, that's bad, and I've suffered so much doing that, then you don't do it. Because you're walking into the fire. So the intellectual understanding, and still you do it. Why did I do that? Because it's Kali Yuga. I understood it, but I did it. It's Kali Yuga. Brain doesn't work. Why you do it? Brain not working. That's the reason. It's Kali Yuga. Brains don't work. You see it. Like Bhagavatam says, Pasyanapi na pashyati. You see it, but you don't see it. There he is. I'm looking at it. Everybody's getting old. Everyone's dying. And I'm going to Disneyland tomorrow. You see it, but you don't see it. Brain not working, Prabhu. That's the problem, isn't it? So it's a little bit of suffering. Like we said, Krishna will give you the dose of suffering that you require. And when you're more advanced, why would you have to suffer? There's no need, because you're already detached. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't like to suffer, then I don't recommend becoming a devotee, because Krishna's he's gonna kick you a little bit, but it's gonna move you closer to him. And that's why he does it. So if Krishna's kicking you, just say, thank you, Krishna, for kicking me, because now we're getting closer. That's it. That's how we have to look at it. Spouses, oh yeah. Incompatibility with spouses, that was so funny. Let's find two spouses that don't get along. Bhakta Burfi is arranging a marriage today. He's doing marriage counseling and marriage arrangements. He's doing their astrology. I found this Prabhu and that Prabhu. It'll be a horrible marriage. Let them get married. They'll become so detached. It's going to be amazing. He'll take sannyas in like 3 years. And she'll hate men for the rest of her life. She'll never want to get married. It's going to be an amazing marriage. Just give him 3 years and watch what happens. But actually, yeah, Bhakta Burfi, I think you misunderstood that a little bit. Actually, the other idea is there, Marina, that you enjoy, is it okay to enjoy sense gratification in Krishna consciousness? The answer is definitely yes and definitely no. The answer is there's no question of enjoying unless it's in relation to Krishna. You fulfill your needs. So when your needs are fulfilled, then you're happy. So you enjoy it in the restrictive ways that Krishna allows you to enjoy it. And then you fulfill your need for sense gratification without it being sense gratification like the materialist, because you control it. You take, what do I need? I need something. I need halava. You know my halava example? How many of you know my halava example? Raise your hand. Well, this is not Zoom. I can't see you. It's time for the halava story. Dun, 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 dun. Halava. Let me tell you about halava. Halva. As you say in India, halva. Prabhu, you want some halva? We call it halava. Maybe it's the wrong pronunciation. Maybe it's halva. When we were young brahmacharis, our diets were very austere, very simple. We didn't have sweets during the week. Sweets were brahmachari. You are a brahmachari. You do not eat sweets. No. Austere. But on Sunday feast, we got to eat sweets because Sunday feast meant you make it opulent for the non-devotees. And basically every Sunday the sweet was halva. Maybe we made sweet rice sometimes, but usually halva. And as brahmacharis, we were addicted to halva. I mean, it was like halva. We never grew up eating halva. And if you make halva well, and you don't eat sweets all week, then this is like a super treat. It's like you really look forward to that. And in fact, when the first devotees during this time would like go home to visit their parents, you know what the first thing they did? It's like, now I'm out of the temple. I can eat all the halava I want. They would cook halava and eat halava every day because you'd only get it once a week in the temple. I'm serious. I mean, this sounds funny, but I'm serious. This is what we would do. It's like, I'm out of the temple. It's like I'm out of prison. I can eat halava every day. I'm at my mother's house. I'm cooking halava. So halava was like gold or platinum. It was really special. And I personally remember eating so much halava as a young man, like a 20-year-old man, that after the Sunday feast, I would actually have a temperature. I remember feeling my head. I go, I have a temperature. I don't know how it works. If you overeat, you get a temperature. But I remember my body just heating up from, I don't know why, sugar or butter or whatever. And just halava was the thing, just beg, borrow, or steal, but get halava, And then, you get a little extra halava, stick it in your jacket and your kurta, put it in your locker, lock the door, and then during the week, nobody's looking, get some halava. It was like, you had to understand, we were like 20-year-old men. Okay, no drugs, no sex, no, no sleeping, no, it was like, everything was like just pulled out of our lives. Hold on a second. There's too much light here. Everything was pulled out of our lives. The only sense gratification we had left was halva. You make a movie, we'll call it halva, and show these brahmacharis, doing these severe austerities, 1969, getting up early, sleeping 5 hours, just going on Harinam all day. No sense gratification at all, except Sunday. Halva. That's the name of the movie, halva. So halva was like our drug. Seriously, it was like our drug. When we were authorized to eat halva, we would eat it, like just eat it till here. That was what, I'm serious. We would eat it till here, because it's like this is your only sense gratification for the week. You got to make it last. There's just a temple full of brahmacharis doing austerities out on the street all day. No sense gratification, freezing weather, sleeping on the floor. Halava, it's halava. It's your drug of choice. It's all you have. And so we eat it up to here every Sunday. I got to a point in my Krishna consciousness, if someone said, do you want halava? I go, no, I don't want no more halava. I had too much halava. I had enough halava for the next 10 lifetimes. I don't need halava anymore. It's like I got to this point. I got so tired of halava. And those of you who know me, who cook for me, like Sureshwar is there, I'm like, you feed me halava, I'll say, why? Why'd you give me halava? Oh, well, I thought you like halava. Yeah, I love halava, except I ate so much halava, I'm over it. So it's like that. We need to satisfy ourselves in a way that we get over it. We don't indulge in it. We just, eat enough halava that someday, and you don't need it. So halava represents any kind of sense gratification we're attached to. So take it in a regulated way so that when you're older, you can say, halava is nice, but I don't really need it. It's okay. I can live without it. That's the idea. So that partially answers. It also answers Marina's question. In Radha Swami's autobiography, The Journey Home, Maharaj mentions that austerities can make some people hard-hearted. Yes. He was referring to it as part of the beautiful story about Sita Ram Baba, who did several intense austerities, but he was so blissful, like you're explaining. Yeah, austerities. Yeah, if you can't do it if you're not ready. Otherwise, you you become miserable. A devotee wrote me a letter, and he said, he's up early every morning, but in his temple, they're all getting up late. So he's doing austerities, but it's hard for him because he sees everyone else isn't. So it's like, sometimes it's like that. When you do it, but nobody does it, then you become upset with them. And so Radhanath Swami said something funny once. He said, so these devotees were doing Nirjal Ekadasi, or maybe it was Bhima Ekadasi, and they weren't eating anything. They weren't drinking any water. Nirjal means no water. See, he said, they weren't eating anything, but they were feasting on their false egos, because he could see they were proud of it. So even though they weren't eating food, they were feasting on their false egos. Wow. Isn't that a nice statement? Be a nice title for a book, Feasting on Your False Ego. Badher likes cold showers. When he's in Montreal, he knows what cold is. But what I found out is that if it's too cold, it's not healthy. So it shouldn't be that cold. Question from yesterday. You have been talking about practice of confession that we don't have in our tradition. The practice that seems to be very helpful in spiritual life. I was wondering yesterday about it, that most of us keeping inside some burden of unspoken bad things we did, so-called sins, who we should confess to yourself first. In Christian religion, after confession, a priest is giving forgiveness, and you have to pay. Confess to me, but it costs you $100. Don't you have to pay them? Good business, right? Maybe I should start a new business, confessions. $5 per confession. It seems to be very helpful to move forward and improve. You can confess to anybody. It doesn't have to be a priest. You can confess to the deities. You can confess to a picture of your spiritual master. Just get it out in the open. The first thing is, most of us won't even confess it to ourselves. So confess to yourself first, and then confess to anybody. Write it down. I confess that I this and that. But don't lament in your confession. I'm so bad. Do it to lighten the burden and go forward. Yeah, you can confess to anyone. ISKCON bullets. Halava, the last bastion of sense gratification. They could watch out for halava. I'm starting my escape in prasadam. Too much eating of simply wonderfuls. Okay. I missed your question. In Poland, you don't have to pay attention. Pay after confession. Oh, okay. Free confession. Oh. In other countries, you have to pay? There's a book of a devotee called Prasadam Addicted. Krishna Karshan, did I miss your question or did I get it? Or you had a question way in the beginning, before Marco? I'm going to the top, I don't see. Well, we have a lot of movies to make, right? Now we have to make a movie called Halva. Now we have to make the video as Bhakta Burfi, the matchmaker. That would be so funny. This is a true story. The names have only been changed to protect the innocent. This is a true story. I was told. I think maybe it was you, Krishna Karshan, who told me. So, okay, we'll end now. It's time for me to eat breakfast. I'm not going to stay in my office and eat at 1 o'clock because thank you all for coming. Tonight, if you're interested, we're going to continue our courses at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on forgiveness, on the philosophy of forgiveness. What do we have? Escape from the cities. We have no quoting Prabhupada out of context. Yeah, and Prabhupada never, he wasn't a conspiracy theorist. He told us there's going to be a war, and he didn't tell us to do anything other than chant Hare Krishna. So that kind of answers that question. Okay, so tonight at 7, we have a class which is translated into Spanish, and it's called The Philosophy of Forgiveness. We've discussed a lot of the practicalities of it, so this is the philosophy. So if you're interested, that is going to be on Facebook. No, it's going to be on Zoom, but it will also, generally, it's also sent to Facebook, so you don't have to worry, but we will send out the Zoom address in case you'd like to come on Zoom. There's room for you on Zoom, and I can see your lotus face if you come on Zoom, and you can participate in chat on Zoom, which is more direct. Hare Krishna to all of you, and see you tonight or tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.